Hello there, and thought I'd just show you. I've bought a couple of Hornby Dublo items. Don't be fooled by the coupling on the front there. These have been changed by a previous owner, and he's done a really good job. The original couplings are riveted onto the die-cast bogie frame, and yeah, he must have had a bit of a job on his hands there, but yeah, this came up at the right price, and the couplings means that I can pull my, let's focus on the name there we are, Crapello, and this came out in 62. Let's move him along a bit. Most of the paint is still on it. There's a little bit of rubbing along these engine room windows. Which is sort of par for the course. Now this came to me in a really good condition, and I didn't have to do much to get it to go smoothly at all. So there we are, there's the front, and these are the Wren Pullmans. So let's give him a bit more juice. There he goes. Also recently got this little train set here, and it's sort of box, although the lid was quite damaged. This is the Hornby N2 tank, or 06 tow tank, 062, not tow. And it came with these wagons. The ICI bulk salt wagon should really be the Saxa salt wagon. Unfortunately, this one I've got has got a broken coupling, so I'm still waiting to get a replacement for that. I'll probably get a replacement chassis and put that on it. But this is a nice runner as well. Came to me in good condition. I just did the minimum sort of bit of cleaning and oiling on it, and off he goes. I did notice when it reached me, it did have, because it's got the vertical motor, the top bearing is adjustable, and the nut underneath that keeps it in place was halfway down its thread, so I had to attend to that. But it was a bit tricky because I had to use I don't have a small spanner that size, so I'll have to try and get one. Had to use me tweezers in combination with a screwdriver, but we got the job done. And it's relatively quiet as well for one of these. I remember I had a three rail one of these when I was a kid. It was terribly noisy. I also had one of these things on 3 rail, and this one sounds exactly like that one did. So it's all brass gears and things. So what I'll do is I'm going to show you. I've got another Deltic that I got, and I'm going to show you on that some of the points you might find need attention if you buy one second hand. So if you'd like to hold on a second, just watch him go down there. And watch this one come round the corner. Lovely. Right, there we are. So here's the other one I got, which is the one that came out a couple of years earlier. I think it's 1960 or 61, and I bought this one. It was very dirty looking in the photographs, but I thought, well, it doesn't appear to be any paint missing much, so I went ahead and bought it. It does have a coupling missing at one end. What we got in there? We can just see, can we? Can we read the words? Possibly not. No. We'll stick that down there. Now what we've got here is the chassis. Now you've got plenty of manoeuvrability on the motor bogie and on the pickup bogie. Now one of the things you've got to make sure when you get it going is that you've got these wheels. If I can, let's see, we're nearly there. There we are. These wheels here. Now make sure they're the correct sort of 14 millimeters or 14 point something millimeters across. Sometimes these, you find these are a bit dodgy. They need a little bit of room, but not too much, because if they hit the bogie side frames, they will short on the pickup side. So, and then if you've got the bogie side frames, sometimes are a bit bent if it's been dropped, but they do unscrew, and you can carefully straighten them, but you know, it's a dodgy business. This is the and then obviously these have got to be free running, these wheels. Not getting much focus today. Yeah, all these wheels have got to be free running. Obviously they've got that wiper on the side there at each end on this side, so they won't be quite as free running, but you don't want any dirt down there, and give it a good clean and oiling, light oiling, I would say, a smear on the axle. That's what I do. Now here we have the power bogie. Same with the wheels, make sure they're spaced correctly, and that the axles are relatively clean and oiled. You've got the two cogs there on the outer axles, which engage, as you can see, with the two worm drives at each end of the lay shaft. Now at this end, you've got this nut, locking nut, and this screw adjuster for the end float. So the end float is how far this lay shaft can be moved from one end to the other, and you just want a tiny little bit that you can just fill, but not too tight. If it's too tight, it won't want to move. If it's too loose, you'll get some noise. And obviously on the bottom of the motor there, you can see that cog is driving the other cog on the lay shaft, so they've got to mesh nicely. On the top there's not the same adjustment as on the other motors. As you can see, there's no locking nut up there, but that's because it can't really go anywhere. That gear is going to be placed there, and it's not going to drop. So you've got the normal commutator there. The brushes, this end, just get a thin screwdriver in there, twist it, and you can just pull it out by hand. Make sure you're careful the spring is attached to that, and then have a look at the condition of the brush, that end. this end you'll need, this is the brush holder here. You might need to get a little a grip on that with pliers or something, small pliers. Just give it a twist and loosen it a bit if you want to inspect the brush, that end. This screw and this screw here, make sure they're tight because they make an electronic connection with the pickup bogie. And that's it really. Now the oiling points, there's one in there. See that? Focus is jumping today, isn't it? Anyway, that's, you can see the hole down there in the top of the motor. You can take this easily unscrews. These two screws just keep the top of the motor on. And so this came to me in quite a poor condition. There's quite a bit of rust here, and it took a while to get it to run at all, really. But you know, you get there in the end. They're on rivets, these things, and the one this end, the coupling has broken off, so there's a little bit of coupling left on the top there. Now the traction tyres that were on it were far too big, and it kept jumping off the track, so I put some correct ones on. Yeah, it's a good runner now. So not a lot can go wrong, and it's all you know, there's no small screws really. Well, the smallest screws are in the bogie side frames at each end, which I'm not sure I can get the camera to show you. Hold on, let's have a look at this end. Yeah, you can see one down there. There's one down there, and there's two on each side. Just unscrew those, and the side frames come off for fitting traction tyres and stuff like that. So yeah, I was relatively pleased. This one was quite cheap. It was in quite a state. I mean, it was sold to me as running, which it wasn't, but it runs now. There we are. It's got, I think it's, just see that, Hornby Dublo, made in England, Meccano Limited, and yeah, the body shell cleaned up quite nicely. There's a little bit, you can see on the cant rail there, there's a little bit of grey paint missing. These are shorter than they should be. They should be about an inch longer. The Lima ones are about 1/4 of an inch short, I think. But then, you know, this would be pulling the Hornby coaches, which were shorter length than they should be, so it kind of fits in quite well. It's got the crest in the middle. Hornby released this before British Railway had released theirs, and they got the colour scheme wrong, didn't they? But they got that's in the correct position there because first of all, they weren't named, and they just had the crest in the middle and the number at each end under the cab windows. So it's not a bad old thing, is it really? So we'll get that on the track and show you that one going. Oh, the body only goes on one way round, and that's the one screw that keeps it all on. So there's the washer, and there's the little bolt. I'll have to do this off camera. I'll put those in, and we'll see it running. There we are. So I've attached her to the Hornby Dublo Super Detail coaches, which, as I mentioned, they're shorter than they should be, so kind of blends in quite well with those. They're quite heavy, and this is first radius that she's going round on Super 4 track. So let's see if she can manage this okay. There she goes, and none of my locomotives really like that end of the layout because there's a bit of low current going on and a bend, so will be all right when she warms up a little bit. I'll give her a little bit more juice so she doesn't have to struggle around that corner. There we are, it's a bit better. I did remagnetise the motor on this, which is dead easy because on one side of the motor, I didn't show you that, I should have done, there's a little red dot which is north. You just place the whole chassis in there, just magnetise the motor. Don't need to take anything apart. Yeah, that's the main thing I wanted to show you really. And here's the other one, which is in much nicer condition on its inside. But they're all as built on the inside. Hasn't been any fiddling about with the wire work or anything, so that's all good. And of course, if there's nothing major wrong with them, they do run. Carbon brushes are still available to buy, and traction tyres as well. I've got some spare ones. You know, so there's no excuse. Get one going today. Nice and cheap. This one was 35 quid, and the Crapello, correctly painted one, I think that was 55, and about £5 for posting, I think, as well. They're quite heavy items. Yep. There's a little N2 in the shed, and just have a look on the back, just in case you're in any doubt. It's a Hornby, made in England by Meccano Limited, right on the back of the coal bunker. So that's just so you know who made it. Great stuff, and I'll see you again another time. Cheers now.